All right, everybody, here is the next lesson. We're going to cover the major scale. This is another pattern that is extremely important to your music. So we're going to get right to it. Remember the five-finger pattern was start, whole step, half step, whole step. Well, the major scale is the five-finger pattern plus another whole step, and a half step. So when you put it all together, it's start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So you got to start somewhere. You got two whole steps. You got a half step to break it up. You got three whole steps and a half step to end it. So start, whole, half, whole, half. Again, that's start, whole, half, whole, half. Okay? So on C, the C major scale is start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And that brings us to fingering. What you want to do for all of your major scales with your right hand starting on a white note, the fingering is going to be the same. It's going to be our thumb. We're going to go our thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, switch to our thumb, use all the rest of our fingers, and end on our pinky. That's going to work for every major scale starting on a white note except for F, and we'll get to that in a moment. So here's our fingering again, and if our fingers were numbers, it would be, if our fingers were 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, our fingers would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So let me show you how that works for all of these major scales starting on white notes except for F. So here it is again on C. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start, whole, half, whole, half. Here is D. Start, whole, half, whole, half. I do that again. Start, whole, half, whole, half. Here is E. Again, the same fingering. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And you got that same 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with your fingering. Okay, we're going to skip F for right now. We're going to G. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here is A. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here is B. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Again, that's that same fingering. Now we're going to get to F because we're ready for it now. Here's F. What you do is you're going to go with your fingering 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're not even going to use your pinky for F. Take a look. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is your fingering for that. Okay? And we're just going to go straight to, normally I would split these up, the major scale starting on black notes, but now I think you guys can handle it. I'll just give it all to you guys at the same time. Here is our major scale starting on black notes. That requires a different fingering, and there's three main rules that I want you to remember for fingering your major scale starting on black notes. The first rule is that your thumb never touches the black notes. They can touch the black notes when you're doing your five-finger pattern, but not when you're doing your major scale fingering. Okay, so that's the first rule. Thumb never touches the black notes. The second rule is that the first white note that you come to, that's going to be your thumb. And the third rule is that the fingering for C sharp is going to give you your starting finger for all of the other notes. Okay, so here is the first rule. By the way, you start C sharp with your pointer finger. Start, whole step. Here's another whole step, but we're going to play that with our thumb because that's the first white note. Half step, whole step, another first white note, whole step, so that's going to be our thumb, and half step. Here it is again. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Here it is again. And by the way, make certain after you play your thumb, use all the rest of your fingers until your thumb comes up again. Here it is again. Now here's E flat. And like I said, the fingering for the C sharp scale gives you your starting fingering for all of these other notes. So when we do E flat here, we're going to start with our middle finger. Because when we do C sharp and we stop on E flat, that's where we are. So we're going to start E flat with our middle finger. Start, whole step, but you notice that's a white note, so that's our thumb. Use all the rest of your fingers. Another whole step, half step, whole step. Here's another first white note. Whole step, half step. So start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And you may notice that with these blacks, the fingering for the major scale on these black notes, you're going to end on the same finger that you started on. For C sharp, take a look. We started on the pointer finger, ended on the pointer finger. Same thing for E flat. Started on the middle finger, ended on the middle finger. Okay, here is F sharp. And we do the fingering for C sharp to figure out what finger we use. And we figure out it's our pointer finger. So start, whole step, here's the first white note, half step, whole step, half step. So here it is again. Okay, here is A flat, and we start on our middle finger. Start, whole step, here's the first white note, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Here it is again. Okay, here's B flat. So we know that we start on our ring finger. So start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Here it is again. Start, whole, half, whole, half. Okay? So that's your fingering for major scales for one octave. And by the way, an octave is 8. Octave, just like an octopus has 8 legs, octave means 8 notes. And that's referring to the major scale. And this is what it means. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you do the major scale, you're going to see that your first note and your last note are going to be the same note 8 notes apart, or an octave apart, according to the major scale. So that's why they call it octave. So we're doing major scales for one octave. We showed you the fingering for all of that. Add that to the 5-finger pattern and the chord practice that I gave you before. Do this 20 times every day as well. Yes, it's going to take work, but let me tell you, the piano is easy, meaning the concepts behind playing the piano are really easy. We may use big words, and they may sound like it's we're using these huge concepts, but the concepts are easy. What is difficult is forcing yourself every single day to get on the piano and do the boring things that are going to take you to success. That's the only thing that's hard. If you can get on the path of mastery, as one of my favorite teachers, Jeff Olson, puts it, if you can get on the path of mastery and stay on it, you are on your way. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you for next time.